Phenom, wonder kid, prodigy, best sophomore ever. We're running out of ways to describe what Luka Doncic is doing to the NBA as a 20-year-old. Doncic could have merely matched his Rookie of the Year production and still been a borderline all-star this season. Instead, the Slovenian sensation has set the league ablaze, morphing into a full-fledged MVP candidate.
Shot, he banks it in! Oh, Luka Doncic!
Doncic is half an assist shy of averaging a 30-point triple-double, and he's doing it more efficiently than either Russell Westbrook or the Big O, Oscar Robertson, ever did. In fact, over the last 35 years, the only other players to post an effective field goal percentage of 56 plus while also attempting 20 shots per game are guys you know by one name: Shaq, Giannis, Steph. Most importantly, the Mavs are winning. Forget just trying to end the franchise's 4-year playoff drought. Through nearly a quarter of the season, Dallas is hovering around the 4th spot in the West while boasting a top 5 point differential league-wide. Doncic has room to grow on the defensive end and in becoming a more consistent shooter, but it would be tough to build a better point forward for the modern game in a lab.
Sidestep in the defense at the last second by Luka to lay it in.
And here's the thing, while Luka's ascent to superstardom has been unusually meteoric, we shouldn't really be that surprised.
He's a born winner, so, no, I'm not kidding. He already have a lot of trophy medals, and I'm happy for him. And mark my words, he's gonna be one of the best in the whole world.
That's former All-Star and current Heat guard Goran Dragic back in 2017 after an 18-year-old Doncic helped him lead Slovenia to an unlikely Eurobasket title. Know what else Doncic did as a teenager, besides making one hell of a EuroLeague hype video?
I won these trophies. How do you feel?
It feels alright, Grandpa, being so young. I've got plenty of time to win my own.
Game on, dancing like a ball, jumping like a ball.
Alright, side note, can we just quickly talk about the fact that It Feels Alright Grandpa was basically OK Boomer before we even knew what OK Boomer was? This was 2017. Doncic is basically a millennial visionary. Now where were we? Oh right. Know what else Doncic did as a teenager? He was named MVP of the Spanish League and the EuroLeague, European basketball's version of the Champions League, while leading Real Madrid to a championship in both of those competitions. Oh, and he took home EuroLeague Final Four MVP honors along the way. But who's counting at this point? Do you know what the guys drafted ahead of Doncic were doing at the same age? They were dominating in less impressive fashion against fellow teenagers, most of whom will never sniff professional basketball. Again, Doncic was getting paid to dominate grown-ass men in the second best professional basketball league on the planet, at 19. Look, I know revisionist draft history is easy in hindsight, and that you can never really know about a prospect. But Luka Doncic was never your typical draft prospect, and anyone running an NBA front office should have been smart enough to see that. The Suns hired Doncic's national team coach, then drafted local Arizona product DeAndre Ayton #1 overall instead. Sacramento passed on Doncic for Marvin Bagley, with one theory surmising that Kings president Vlade Divac overlooked Doncic because he didn't get along with his father. The Kings play-by-play man has since poured cold water on that report, but you've got to admit, it's a pretty Kingsy route. And then there's the Hawks, who traded the #3 pick in 2018, and therefore the right to draft Doncic, to Dallas, in exchange for the #5 pick that became Trae Young, and a future first-rounder that became Cam Reddish. And Trae Young is awesome, a budding star in his own right, but he's not Luka Doncic, which means the Hawks still played themselves. So instead, Doncic is in Dallas, where the Mavs have the rare opportunity to transition from one transcendent talent to another, forging the path to another window of contention in the house that Dirk built. For Doncic and the Mavs, and really for any fan of the game watching it all unfold, unless you're sitting in Phoenix, Sacramento, or Atlanta, that's gotta feel alright, Grandpa.